24 hours after lightning hit a gas pipeline station, spewing an oily substance into the air, people living near the scene are concerned about their safety. What's being done to help them?
The state police trooper saves the day as a father and his 3-year-old daughter are close to being swept away by floodwaters.
A man charged in a triple murder nearly 3 years ago returned to court. What he's asking for ahead of his trial.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good evening to you. People living in a Powell County neighborhood say they are worried about their health and safety.
Their concerns come after lightning hit a gas pipeline station, sending an oily substance into the air yesterday. Now the company that owns the pipeline is doing what it can to reassure them. WKYT's Monique Blair has more on the concerns in our top story at 5.
More than 24 hours after what the Kinder Morgan company is calling a natural gas condensate spewed into the air here, there is still an odor of gasoline. And the people who live in these homes across the street say they are concerned about their health and safety. A statement released from Kinder Morgan today says the company is working to assess the impact the natural gas condensate had on the several homes and yards it was spewed onto Monday afternoon. Crystal Reisner says since the incident, Kinder Morgan has offered to pay for her family to stay in a hotel. But Reisner says she's worried about the long-term impact.
The man from the EPA took some samples and he told us to not wear my shoes in my house, to take them off before I entered inside, to not eat from our gardens, and to not let my children outside before or until they figure everything out.
Kinder Morgan says the company does not believe there is a health threat, but in an effort to be proactive, they say they are trying to make those who live nearby feel safe. But at this time, several people who live in this community say they want proof there is not a health threat, including Powell County Judge Executive James Anderson.
I specifically don't know a whole lot more. That's been part of my concern at this stage, why we haven't had more communications with the company themselves.
Judge Executive James Anderson says there will be a public meeting tomorrow night here in Clay City at the Municipal Building beginning at 5 o'clock for anyone interested in discussing this issue. Reporting in Powell County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Judge Anderson says he hopes to bring in an outside company to do more testing in an effort to get an unbiased result. We started the week off with, yes, more rain, and we can't quite seem to escape it. It's just been a pattern we're stuck in.
It doesn't seem. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with a forecast that does include some scattered storms.
Yeah, a little isolated stuff is out there this evening, but over the next couple of days, especially late Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think we're going to be right back in the thick of things with some heavier rains blowing back into central and eastern Kentucky. So we'll take whatever dry we can get out there, and plenty of it across central and eastern Kentucky as of now. Whatever is out there, by the way, is dropping in from the north. So we got a little action here into parts of the Cincinnati, Ohio area up near Kings Island. Southeastern Kentucky, we've been socked into some low clouds for the better part of the day, but look how isolated the stuff is that is out there. You got a little shower on the Powell and Estill County line. Lexington looking much better than 24 hours ago. Here's that live sky cam. It is a muggy tropical feel out there. So much moisture in the air, a lot of mid and upper 80s showing up temperature-wise throughout the area. Did I mention we're going to focus on the northwestern sky? We will watch parts of Indiana, parts of Illinois, and Missouri over the next couple of days because the flow will bring whatever fires up there into the bluegrass state, and then by later tomorrow at this time, I expect to be tracking a complex of storms into parts of Illinois, Missouri, and maybe western Kentucky. Let's look at the short term, though. Throughout this evening, got some big plans. One of the last nights left of the summer for the kiddos out there. It's mainly dry, though. By 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, that future radar is trying to fire up a little isolated shower or a thunderstorm. We'll come back in just a few minutes, guys. A brand new hour-by-hour forecast will show those storm clusters that I'm concerned about, especially on Thursday.
Chris, thank you. Yesterday's rains caused flash flooding around the area. A Pulaski County man and his young daughter were among those who got trapped by rising waters.
Our Phil Pendleton talked to the state police trooper who came to their rescue.
I'm told that the man was out here very early this morning trying to retrieve a vehicle from near this bridge when the water simply started rising and became at a very scary depth for him and his 3-year-old daughter. The man was with that toddler as all of this was going on. Police say the man realized how fast the water was rising and called for help. Trooper Adam Childress was patrolling nearby and waded out into the water to the father and his little girl.
I could see the father sitting in the driver's seat holding the 3-year-old child, and both appeared to be panicked, and once I got to the water, the little girl was yelling for me to get her.
As all of this was going on, it was about 3 o'clock this morning, and at that time the water was about where my waist would be right here. Trooper Adam Childress tells me that the water was getting close to being over their heads when he showed up. We're going to have a lot more on this coming up at 6 o'clock, including the 911 call that the father made as the water was getting dangerously close to them. But for now, in Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say the father and his daughter were cold but not injured in the ordeal.
A judge will consider whether to move the trial for a man accused in a triple murder. Kenneth Keith is accused of killing Michael and Angela Hawkinsmith and Daniel Smith nearly 3 years ago. The murders took place at a pawn shop the Hawkinsmiths owned in Danville. As WKYT's Hillary Thornton shows us, their family says they're ready for this trial to get started.
A judge ruled Kenneth Keith competent to stand trial last July, and today here inside of Boyle County Circuit Court, a small step forward in what has been a long process of getting a date set for that trial. The case has seen numerous delays, frustrating to the loved ones of the victims, who say they're ready to get this chapter closed. The murders happening nearly 3 years ago, when police say Keith killed 3 people in a Danville pawn shop. The owners Michael and Angela Hawkinsmith and gold broker Daniel Smith were all shot and killed. The Danville pastor was arrested and charged with robbery and murder. In the past few years, this high-profile case has been stalled by delays. Keith's first attorney was shot and killed 2 years ago outside of his office. After that, Keith's case was transferred to the Department of Public Advocacy because he didn't like the way his second attorney was representing him. Today, his newest attorney asking the judge for yet another hearing date, this time for a motion filed by one of his previous attorneys.
About a year ago, prior counsel filed a motion to change venue. We asked the judge at that time to withhold ruling on that motion till we could research it and investigate it.
Sam Cox says they have now completed that research, including sending out surveys at random to folks in Boyle County. While he would not discuss specifics of the survey or where he'd like to see the trial take place, he did say results show a venue change would be appropriate. Today, the judge setting a 4-hour time slot to hear their request later this month.
We'll call the folks who did the survey, and there'll be testimony.
And that request to have the trial moved out of Boyle County will be heard on August 29th. In Boyle County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Family members of the Hawkinsmiths were in the courtroom today and say they do not believe there is a reason to move the trial and fear it will only lengthen the process.
A man is in jail facing 139 charges for what he's accused of doing on the job. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Hart County. Investigators say that Waylon Horton deliberately put more than 100 shards of glass in sleeves of styrofoam cups distributed by Dart Container. The company became aware of the problem after a customer received one of the sleeves. Horton's charges include wanton endangerment and possession of a destructive device. In Madison County, police are asking for your help to identify a wanted man. Richmond police say that this man cashed checks stolen from a car parked at the Logan's Roadhouse in Richmond Center last month. Police say that 2 vehicles were broken into and more than $8,000 in items were taken from them.
The number of locally contracted Zika cases in Florida continues to grow. Health officials now say 15 people have contracted the virus from mosquitoes there. Most of the infections have happened in the Wynwood section of Miami, an area pregnant women have been told to avoid. Weijia Zhang shows us what's being done to keep them and their unborn babies safe.
Jessica Ardente is 4 months pregnant. The 36-year-old is getting tested for Zika because she lives in the 1 square mile of Miami, where health officials say local mosquitoes are now spreading the virus.
Women are scared to death right now because we try to do whatever we can to maintain safety during pregnancy. We take care of our bodies, our diet, exercise activity, and now we have to worry about the mosquitoes.
Zika can cause devastating birth defects, including microcephaly, which leaves babies with unusually small heads. Ardente is doing the best she can to prevent mosquito bites.
I really don't have much of a choice right now, so I'm just going to kind of hunker down.
Nurses are distributing prevention kits to pregnant women in Miami that include insect repellent and condoms because the virus can also be sexually transmitted.
The CDC says any pregnant women who visited this neighborhood north of downtown Miami since mid-June should be tested for Zika.
University of Miami doctor Christine Curry has treated about a dozen pregnant women with travel-related Zika.
If I have a mom that I'm worried about microcephaly while she's still pregnant, obviously I need to be honest with her about the diagnosis and the potential that it's real.
Health experts say it's up to everyone to protect themselves from mosquito bites to stop the virus from spreading. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Miami.
The CDC announced today another $16 million to 40 states and territories to fight Zika. Officials say the money comes from other public health resources until Congress approves more funds to fight the virus. Criticism continues to follow Donald Trump after his comments about the family of a U.S. Army captain killed in the line of duty. President Obama joined those speaking out against Trump for his comments toward the Khan family. He called Trump, quote, woefully unfit to be president and encouraged leaders of the Republican Party to denounce their nominee. Trump refuses to back down.
There has to be a point at which you say, this is not somebody I can support for President of the United States.
Horrible things were said about me. I think it was, frankly, very tough. So all I did is respond, and I will always respond.
Some in the Republican Party have already said they'll split with Trump over the Khan family controversy. New York Congressman Richard Hanna announced today he is voting for Hillary Clinton because Trump is unfit to serve the party and cannot lead the country.
After nearly 2 years of construction and development, the playground at Jacobson Park is back open again.
For decades, we've been told flossing is necessary for a healthy mouth. Now a new report is questioning the benefits, the findings in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, for the most part, it's been a fairly dry afternoon across most of central and eastern Kentucky. I say the most part because we've had a couple of isolated showers and thunderstorms, so even on a dry day, it still rains somewhere in Kentucky. Let's get into it. Defender Radar Network that at this same point yesterday was tracking the beginning of historic rains into central Kentucky. Yesterday in the Lexington area, we picked up better than 3 inches of rain. Wettest opening day of August on record for Lexington. What are we finding out there now? Teeny tiny stuff into southeastern Kentucky, Mountain Parkway corridor, Interstate 64. Got one little shower south of the Parkway that has made its way out of Powell County into northern parts of Estill County, and that may be impacting 2 homes at best. It is very small. Defender across central Kentucky, nothing going on. Broaden out our view a little bit and show you what is out there to our north and northwest. A lot of clouds here with at least some scattered showers and thunderstorms. That is the flow that we're going to try to lock into over the next couple of days. What eventually may happen later tomorrow, we get a thunderstorm complex to develop into Missouri, and sometimes these thunderstorm complexes can create their own little area of low pressure, and that may be happening in the models as we go into late tomorrow and Thursday, and I can show you that in just a moment. Tomorrow, it's not going to be all day. It's going to be scattered stuff out there. Locally heavy downpour, but a lot of dry hours again on your Wednesday. Thursday, storms are on the move, highlighting that for the possibility of some flash flooding again. That may carry us into the day on Friday, too. Here's a new hour-by-hour forecast in at the top of this hour. Through this evening, isolated shower, thunderstorm, especially eastern Kentucky. We go into the day tomorrow, mainly dry, but a shower or storm will try to pop into the afternoon. Then look what happens tomorrow evening. Notice how we start to see showers and storms increasing west of the I-75 corridor. This is 8 o'clock Thursday morning. There's a spin here, and that is a little weak area of low pressure that slowly works its way across central and eastern Kentucky. And you're talking about every 2 or 3 hours here you're seeing this update, so it isn't moving very much at all. It hangs with us into Wednesday evening, or Thursday evening I should say, and into the first part of Friday morning as well. That is still there. I've seen situations like that produce a tremendous amount of rain, and that's something we'll watch for. Then after that, we get a front in here that puts the brakes on for the weekend, slows down, and can create some more, at least scattered thunderstorms around, especially on Friday. But we'll watch that Thursday time frame. And coming up in the next half hour, guys, we'll show you an updated computer model forecast for rains over the next few days as well. It's pretty much the same old.
Very easy for you. Same old, right?
Yeah, right, but now we're getting to the point we need to turn it off, all right? The same old is getting dangerous at this point. You put down 3 or 4 inches of rain like what we had yesterday, you don't want to follow that up.
Yeah, we don't want to keep seeing that at all. Chris, thank you.
Let's start off with a little good traffic news. That crash on the interstate's been cleared, so 64 is back open at the Fayette-Clark County line. Couple of collisions working right now we can see on the map. One is on Broadway at 3rd Street. That one is in the center lane, so not a big deal. Another crash outbound at Old Paris Pike there near the circle that has a left lane blocked. Drive times to Versailles, 12 minutes. To Paris, about 22. And to Richmond, averaging 23 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Don. The city of Lexington unveiling a new playground at Jacobson Park. We'll show you what makes it interactive next.
We're learning more about a hit-and-run crash that killed a woman and injured her husband, what police revealed during a hearing in the case on WKYT News at 5:30.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Children have a new and improved place to swing, climb, and play in Lexington.
It should be very popular. The city unveiled the updated playground at Jacobson Park this morning. Our Mike Linden shows us the space includes some interactive features.
1, 2, 3.
After nearly 2 years of development and construction, the playground at Jacobson Park is back open again.
We've had so much community involvement, public engagement, and to see all of that and our employees' hard work come to fruition today, it is a big day for Parks and Recreation.
There's also a brand new addition to the park next to the playground, and it's hard to miss. These bright green pipes are actually an interactive art and music exhibit called Livestream.
It's been a real treat to kind of, see the project transform from this dream into a reality, but then also to see community members interact with it.
Nash says the sound coming from the pipes is actually data collected by the U.S. Geological Survey of groundwater across the state of Kentucky. So all you need to do in order to hear the sounds of the groundwater is walk up to the pipes and... Jacobson Park is one of Lexington's most visited green spaces. Park officials say it's always been a priority to make the playground accessible to all ages of children.
Sometimes we'll have school groups and camps come out. On the weekends we can easily hit 1,000 people that are coming out and enjoying this wonderful playground.
In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Should be a very busy place. Conrad says the big goal for Parks and Recreation was to have the playground open before the start of the school year. They succeeded. Police captured an adorable intruder today. Manchester police posted this video to their Facebook page. They say this deer had been in someone's backyard for several days. Officer Jason Combs caught the little one and released it safely back into the woods. There he goes. Former UK athletes bringing smiles to patients at Kentucky Children's Hospital. We'll show you an inspirational new display on WKYT News at 5:30.
Do you really need to floss every day? With the findings of a new report revealed next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. For decades, experts have recommended flossing to prevent gum disease. Now, a new report is questioning whether it makes a difference. Marley Hall shows us the findings.
For decades, flossing has been considered critical in preventing gum disease and cavities. But new research from the Associated Press finds little proof that flossing works.
We came to the conclusion that if you use your toothbrush with floss, it's not more effective than toothbrushing alone.
An AP review of 25 studies over the past decade shows the evidence for flossing is weak and unreliable.
We found very little support for the removal of dental plaque.
The American Dental Association has been promoting using floss for more than 100 years and still maintains using floss once a day is an essential part of taking care of your teeth and gums. Dr. Wayne Aldridge is president of a leading dental group and urges his patients to floss to help avoid gum disease.
It's amazing sometimes when you put it in between your teeth and you pull it back out, or you pull it and you just see what's on there.
He also reminds his patients not to floss in a sawing motion, to move up and down on the sides of the teeth instead. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
The American Dental Association says flossing removes debris between teeth that can lead to cavities or even gum disease. A new study finds gluten sensitivity appears to be a real medical problem. There's been a growing trend of people cutting gluten from their diet even though they don't suffer from celiac disease. Now researchers say those with gluten sensitivity can suffer changes in their bodies separate from people with celiac or wheat allergies. Symptoms include bloating, abdominal pain, diarrhea, fatigue, headaches, and memory problems. Doctors hope this will increase awareness and make it easier to diagnose. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.